allows us to do is to group these OHs together when we do our equation. So I'll keep the OHs together. Anything contained in those OHs, I don't need to balance because I'm going to balance them as a single unit. I can also do that for PO4. PO4 is another polyatomic ion that I can use to balance. I'll group that whole PO4 together. So when I create my chart, there's one barium on each side. Then the next thing I have is OH. So on the left-hand side, there are 2 of them. That's what that little 2 means outside the parentheses. And on the right-hand side, there's only 1. The next thing I have is hydrogen. So right here, there's 3 hydrogens on the left. And on the right, there's a hydrogen right here, and there's also a hydrogen right here. Which brings up our hint number 3, which said if an element appears more than once per side, balance it last. So I like to put dots above those elements to remind myself that they are split. And then every time I change a coefficient in front of one of them, I'll have to add them together to get the number. So right here you multiply, right here you multiply. If you go across the plus sign, you're going to be adding. So I have 1 hydrogen on the left and 1 on the right. Right now I have 2. And then for my last element, or ion here, I have PO4. And that'll be a PO4 on each side. On the left-hand side I have 1, and on the right-hand side I have 1. I can start balancing with anything I want, but my hints say those split elements to balance last. So I'm going to save hydrogen till the very, very end, which means that I'm going to balance OH next. I have 2 on the left, which means over here I will need 2 on the right. So I'll cross this off and I'll update all my atom counts. That 2 will go to the OH, but also to the hydrogen. So right now I have 2 hydrogens right here, plus the 1 right there, which gives me 3, which means that this equation is happy and balanced. Very last one we will do is FeCl2, and this brings up the last sort of anomaly, I guess you would call it, in balancing. You have iron and chlorine. If I start my chart, there's 1 iron on each side, 2 chlorines on the left, and 3 on the right. If you're asking yourself, how can I make a 2 become a 3, or how can I multiply and make a 3 become a 2, you can't with whole number ratios. So in that case, you'll multiply the 2 numbers together. 2 times 3 gives you 6, which means your goal will be to get to 6 for chlorine on both sides. So if you look at your chlorine on the left, you will need 3 more Cl2s to make 6. So that gives me 6 on this side. And then over here, you will need 2. Basically, I'm using the opposite number. So that gives me 6 chlorines. It also changes my number of irons. So now I have 2 times 1 iron, which is 2, which means I will need 2 over here on the left. I know that was a super quick version of balancing. The best way to really understand this stuff is to practice, practice, practice. Follow the special hints and make sure you read the rules for balancing if you're stuck. Good luck.